Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadankitam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagara Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Shri Lalita Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tatta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindeshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnevyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarini Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna and welcome you all. So 1 minute. Let me switch on the light. There is some power cut. Yeah. Welcome you all once again to the Bhagavad Gita online classes for level 2 from ISKCON Mangalore. So until last week we covered the chapter 10, right? So and today we'll start with the next chapter, which is 11. Okay. So if we want to do a quick recap, right, of 10th chapter, right? So anyone remembers any highlights of 10th chapter? So a quick recap and then we can move on. Anything you remember from chapter 10? You don't remember? So what are those 4 slokas called? 10.8 to 10.11. Am I audible actually? Aishwarya Mataji, am I audible or I'm disconnected?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are audible. Hare Krishna.
Hello?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam.
Prabhuji,
Yes,
you are
Prabhuji, you are
audible.
audible now.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, you are
Yeah,
audible.
Prabhuji, you are audible. Prabhuji, can you hear us?
So I'm still audible, right?
Yeah, Prabhuji, you are audible.
Mataji, can you confirm this?
Yes,
I
Prabhuji, you are
believe
audible.
Prabhuji is not able to hear us. I believe that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got it. Sorry. Yeah,
Okay. Hare
somehow
Krishna, Prabhuji.
there was a
Hare
loose
Krishna,
connection
Prabhuji.
with my headphones. Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. Okay, so I was just asking, do we know what those 4 verses are called in 10th chapter? So 10.8 to 10.11, what do we call?
Chatur Shloka.
Yeah, okay. So if you all were responding, then sorry, I didn't hear anything. Okay, and so we covered some more aspects, right, in chapter 10. So in chapter 10, right, basically we saw the opulences, right? The opulences of the Lord. Okay. So initial was what is the position, right? So Krishna's position for the as the origin of everything, and then we went through the Chaturshloki, which is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? So the whole Bhagavad Gita can be summarized in those 4 verses. First 2 verses talk about the devotional service, and last 2 verses, 10.10 and 10.11, actually talk about the reciprocation, yeah, of the Lord. And then thereon, Arjuna asks the Lord, how do we actually see you in the material opulences, right? What are your opulences, and then how can we see them? So the Lord actually cites so many things, right? So last week we saw there were so many verses. So those are a limited portion of his unlimited opulences. Yeah, so we could see them, and we saw, right. So of all the major, basically he represents the leaders in that category, right? So like in the mountains is Meru, yeah, and say in the aquatics is shark and all, right? So we went through in all those things, yeah. And then so at the end, right, at the end of the chapter, right, the Lord says that say all these things, right, so all these things are which I have spoken, right? So these are all nothing but a fragment, a single fragment of myself. Yeah? So this is not my whole energy. This is only a single fragment of my energy, right? So that is where our last chapter discussion ended, right? So that was 10.42. Okay. And then now, right, in chapter 11, so that's again, so as we have the link, right? So this is again a link to actually come to chapter 11. Yeah. So he ends with 10.42, right? And then with all the opulences, and then now Arjuna, right? Arjuna wants to see his form of the Lord. Yeah. So in this chapter, basically, until now, right? So the Lord spoke a lot of theory, right? So from 7th chapter onwards, we have been hearing that the whole both spiritual and material creations are a part of him, and then he only all the planets revolve as per his instructions. Yeah, and he beholds everything, right? The universes, yeah, and he is the cause of everything. Yeah, and so in the material world also, right? So we did see that his opulences. He talked about all the opulences, right? So after listening all these, and then even in the 9th chapter itself, Arjuna confirms that the Lord is the supreme, right? By saying Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, right? So therein he actually covers in. Sorry, it's in 10th chapter. And in 9th chapter, he says the confidential knowledge and all those things, right? So he has given a lot of information, right? So now Arjuna says that he wants to see that these all things come from the Lord himself, right? Okay. So whatever was spoken, right? So now Arjuna wants to see a practical demo of it. Okay. So this chapter is basically the prelude, or so this chapter actually traverses to that journey now. So until 11, we saw the from 7 to 10, right? So we saw all the Lord's opulences spoken by the Lord, and then now Arjuna asks the Lord to display that, and the Lord displays it. Yeah. So we'll go through the deck now. Yeah. So this is next. Yeah. So synopsis of chapter 11. last verse, chapter 10, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade. So this is what we discussed. And so now, right, although Krishna is driving Arjuna's chariot, he pervades and supports the entire universe. Arjuna therefore wishes to see Krishna all-pervading form. Arjuna requests Krishna to reveal his universal form. So though Krishna has taken the role of a charioteer for Arjuna, right, out of love for his devotee, and after all these words were spoken, right, so until the 10th chapter, all the discussions happened between Arjuna and Krishna, right? He knew that the person who is sitting next to him is the Supreme Personality. Yeah? And then he now wishes actually to see the universal form. Yeah. Yeah. So this is all the breakup of this chapter. Yeah. So first Arjuna request and Krishna description of his universal form. Yeah. And then Sanjaya describes. So again Sanjaya enters. Yeah. So we missed him for some time, right? So again he describes the universal form. Yeah. And then so he says time I am. Yeah. So this is Kala Rupa. And then Arjuna prayers. Yeah. And then at the end, only pure devotees can see the two-armed supreme form. So these all things are the sections which we will see through. Yeah. This is a breakup. Okay. So now Arjuna requests Krishna to show him all the that all pervading from which he spoke in chapter 10. Yeah. So whatever was being spoken, right? So now Arjuna wants to show him. Yeah. So now Arjuna says, I have heard your instruction on confidential spiritual matters, which you have so kindly delivered on to me. My illusion is now dispelled. Yeah? So even so before this only, right? So in the last chapter only he says in, right? Saying that say, you are the supreme, and so he gives, so there only he is actually so confident, or so he knows that Krishna is the all pervading. Yeah. So and he is the supreme. Yeah. So but still, right? So in this chapter, so he says that all my illusion is dispelled. So he's already saying, so he doesn't have any illusion. Yeah? So and by Krishna's grace, right? Say whatever, so the discussions happened, right, until this chapter, so everything is clear for now. So Arjuna is clear, and then in this chapter it will become more clear for him. Okay. So now Arjuna will ask to show the universal form. Okay. So this universal form, the reason, one thing is Arjuna wanted to show this is because it was all theoretical thing which was being spoken, and then now it is one practical thing which we knew. And this is for the next upstarts or the imposters, right? So in Kali Yuga, so we have this trend, we can say, or fashion, right? Of man-made gods, right? So everyone says that he's a god, right? These days. So for that, so Arjuna is creating a benchmark. Yeah? So Arjuna, so if anyone, right? So if in this age and right in this day and age, if anyone says that I am God, right? So the criteria has been set now. So anyone who says he is a god, right? So first he has to show Vishwarupa. Okay. So and then we'll see what else forms he has to show in. Okay. So then we can actually say that someone is God. Yeah. And So usually, if anyone says that he is a god, right? So it's a wrong concept, right? So nobody is god, at least in this material world, right? So those who are claiming as gods, right? So we are all here as servants of Lord, right? So nobody is equal to the God. Okay, we'll see through. So that's one thing. So now whoever says that he's a god, right? The benchmark is that he has to show in the Vishwarupa. Yeah. So that is one reason, and then there will be a lot of people who will be questioning about these things, right? So to answer them, so this form is, yeah. So by hearing everything that Krishna has said, Arjuna's illusion is removed. So this is effect of hearing the most confidential knowledge. Yeah. So this is nothing but Ananya Bhakti. Yeah. So when his illusion is dispelled, yeah. So then why did Arjuna request Krishna to show his universal form? Yeah? So here Krishna's supremacy is revealed, right? Okay. And then he is the cause of all causes. Yeah. And so cause of what? Everything. Yeah. All incarnations, devatas, living entities, material nature, and everything. Yeah. So, and what illusion is dispelled that Krishna is an ordinary friend of a human being. So this particular thing got clarified him, and Arjuna recognizes that by power of Krishna's grace by which the illusion is dispelled. Yeah. So this is actually we discussed also. So now Arjuna requests. So knowing that he'll request Krishna to show the universal form. O lotus side one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity. Yeah? As realized through your inexhaustible glories. So, O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, I yet wish to see how you have entered into the cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Okay. So now he is asking, so he is requesting Krishna. Yeah. And then he is addressing Krishna as lotus eyed. Yeah. So he's into ecstasy. Now Arjuna is in next level. Okay. So he'll be actually, if you see in this chapter, right, he'll be repeating so many things. So he'll be repeating, he'll be praying for so many times. He'll be paying obeisances so many times. Yeah, because these all things, right, all these repetitions happen when one is in ecstasy. Yeah? So Arjuna is in that mood. Yeah, so he's in a different world now. Yeah. So uh, we spoke, right? So in 11.3, right? So why Arjuna wants to see the universal form? One was the criteria for the imposters, right? And then to show the practical demo, right? And to convince others, right? So that same person, so the Krishna only, right? So the same person who was in the chariot, so he had a personal form and then he only showed the Vishwarupa, yeah. So all these things, so he's asking, and he's asking now in the next verse, right? He's saying that if you feel that I am qualified, okay. So if you say, he says, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, say here, if you look in, say Arjuna is doubtful. So though being such a pure devotee and a great Raj Rishi, he is also saying that will I be able to behold it? So he's requesting, he's asking, taking permission. Yeah. So, oh my Lord of O master of all mystic powers, then kindly show me that universal self. So he's asking, so will I be able to, so, or I am eligible kind of thing. Yeah? So he's asking. So because he's asking basically for the mercy of the Lord, and then he's actually requesting. Yeah. And then in here in this verse, he'll address Krishna as Yogeshwara. Okay. So who has inconceivable potencies. Yeah. So that is what he'll request. Okay. And then now Krishna will actually tell, he'll give some information about the Vishwarupa. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Prabhuji,
Uh,
sorry to disturb. Prabhuji, just one. Can you explain this word cosmic manifestation where Arjuna is saying you have entered into cosmic manifestation? Previous slide. Yeah. So can
we'll
you
take Prabhu. So at the end, we'll take cosmic is nothing but whatever we spoke, right, Prabhu? See, the virtual, the Mahavishnu's creation and all, that is cosmic. So all the creations which happened, right, and this from Mahavishnu, say Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then Shreyadaksha Vishnu. So that's all cosmic manifestations, Prabhu. Okay.
thank you.
So yeah, Hare Krishna. So in this, right, so these things we saw in, right, showing that say the reasons we already touched. So this is the reason why Arjuna wanted to, he is asking the universal form. So it is not for him, rather it is for the next generation. Yeah. And for people like us. Okay. So Arjuna pleads and does not order to see Krishna's form. So he's requesting and then he's waiting for the mercy of the Lord. Yeah. Only by revelation by the mercy of the Lord. Okay. And then these things are not possible by any mental speculations or any self sense gratification things, right? So by reading and all those things, by any academics, right? So we can't have this qualification. Yeah. So only through devotion and then by the mercy of the Lord only these things we can actually see. Okay. So now the Lord actually says him. She says, "Oh blessed Lord, the blessed Lord said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Partha, behold now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied divine forms, multicolored like the sea." Okay. So, and he says that, O best of Bharata, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwinis, Kumaras, and all other demigods. And whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in his body. The universal form can show you that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here complete. Yeah. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I'll have to give you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulences. So now he is saying, so the Lord is saying, okay, saying that, so now you'll see the universal form. Yeah. And so it has different manifestation of Adityas. There are 12 Adityas, right? Vasus, Rudras, yeah, Ashwini Kumaras, and all other demigods. So all the Devatas, yeah, you will be seeing, yeah. And then he says, right, O best of Bharatas, right? So, and then this is not seen by any others, okay? So others have not seen this before, okay? And even the most advanced materialists or the scientists, right? Say they cannot see all these things, yeah. And in there, right? So he'll actually show the past, present, and future also. Okay. So, and in this form, right? So, to see this form, right? This normal vision which we have in, right? So, the charma chakshu which we have got in, right? So, with this, we can't see. Okay. So, to see that, we'll have to have divine eyes. Yeah. Okay. And so, it's like the color of the spectacles, right? So, I'm wearing a plain glasses, right? So, I can see things normally. If somebody gives me a red color or a green color or a black color, right? So then the vision would be different, right? So, and even if we go to a 3D cinema hall, right? So we have given special spectacles, right? To see the movie, right? So we cannot see the 3D movie and enjoy that movie with our own eyes. So to see the material things itself, the material creation itself, we need some colored glass. Yeah. So our eyes, so that's what, right? Our human senses are not at all perfect. Yeah. So we have got imperfect senses. So to see this form, right? So the Lord had to give him Divya Chakshu. Okay. So for Arjuna, it is actually a degradation, right? Because Arjuna and Krishna, right? Arjuna's bhava is in prema. So he had prema chakshu. Okay. So which is much more advanced. So for him, it is one step downgraded to see this form. Okay. And so in here, right, Prabhupada actually touch bases in all these purports, right? So basically, I'll be referring to the Bhagavad Gita book itself. Okay. Because he has covered for every verse, right? So he has covered so many things. Yeah. So here he says, but you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I have to give you divine eyes. Yeah. And then he says, be ready to see my mystic opulences. Yeah. And then here on, the opulences would come into the picture. Yeah. So we'll see through. Yeah. So 11.5, Krishna shows the forms. Yeah. 11.6 is all about no one has seen before. And okay, it's all most of the thing which we have covered. And then he says that you need the divine eyes to look this form. Okay. And now Sanjaya actually tries to describe, okay, so the universal form, right? So he could also see. So with the blessings of Vyasadeva, right? So because he was a disciple of Vyasadeva, so he could also see, and then now he'll try to explain these things. Yeah. So what else things are there? Okay. So now he says, Sanjaya says that, O king, speaking thus, the supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality of God, had displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Okay. And now we'll see so what all Arjuna saw. Okay. So in this, so the Lord at once, being at the chariot only, right? He gave the divine eyes to Arjuna, and then he expanded. Okay. So the whole form manifested from him. Okay. So this is, I think, anyhow, we can't cover the Vishwarupa in pictures also. But if anything comes out of an ordinary person or someone who's sitting besides you, a form of like this, so it's an what do we say? You say it's actually if we'll be in this place, then we'll first thing is we'll faint. We can't actually behold. So this kind of display. Yeah. So even looking at the picture itself, right? So which is only half of the screen, right? So actually this we can't take on. Huh? So Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes. Yeah. So there were unlimited mouths and eyes. So he couldn't actually see them. So it's all unlimited. It was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine dazzling ornaments and arrayed in many garbs. Yeah. He was garlanded gloriously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. Yes, Arjuna saw this. Okay. So in this verse, right, Arjuna actually uses repeated words many times. Yeah. So saying that he'll say there are aneka, right? Aneka, aneka. So he'll be saying aneka, right? And so which is nothing but limitless. Yeah? And so the manifestations were distributed throughout the universe. Okay. And next he'll say Sahasra. Okay. So hundreds of thousands of suns. Okay. In the next chapter verse, he says that there are Sahasra. Okay. And if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. So he says that the effulgence, right, so the lighting which is coming out from the Lord's body is like the power or the lighting of hundreds and thousands of suns, okay, which rise at once. Okay, only one sun's lighting only we are not able to bear. So it's unimaginable, yeah. So for us, so we can't actually think of this rupa. For us to understand some portion of it, right? So we actually from these verses we are able to actually know say how the Lord's form or the Vishwarupa is, yeah. And at that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Yeah? So he could see in this universal form itself, he could see the unlimited expansions of the universes. Okay. So Arjuna could see in the body of Krishna many thousands of planets. Yeah. And some of them are made of earth, some of them, okay. And then there are many universes and many planets also. Okay. So you could see all these things unlimited, yeah, in this form itself. And then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on, and Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So by seeing this form, right? So with these many mouths and all, right? So he could see everything, yeah. So from the upper planet to the lower planet, right? So from Lord Brahma to the lower planets, so everything was visible in the Vishwarupa, yeah. And then he could see all the Rudras, Adityas, everything. So all of them in one place, yeah. And it's all unlimited. So whom to see, what to see is like his condition, yeah. And then now Arjuna's bhava also gets changed. Okay. So earlier he had friendship, right? So now that rasa got changed to a student, right? And now he'll be in Adbhuta rasa, okay? It's wonder rasa. And then you'll see those rasas, yeah. So basically these are the different types of rasas, okay? The primary is 5 rasas are this. So rasa is nothing but the relationship. Say these are melos, okay, by which the devotees are actually having relation with the Lord. Okay. These are Shanta, Dasya, yeah, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Okay. So out of this, Madhurya is the highest one. Yeah. So again, this is the primary, and in addition to this, right, we have got 7 more. Okay. There are 7 more. So which are nothing but Hasya, Adbhuta, Veera, so Karunya, Rudra, Bhibatsa, and Bhava. So in this Veera Ras, we have Bhishma Pitama. Okay. So most of the time we feel that say why Bhishma is at the opponent side being a devotee, right? So because he wanted this Veera Rasa. Okay. So that is the thing. So now initially he was from Sakya, he went to Dasya, right? So now he's in Adbhuta Rasa, wonder. Yeah. So Arjuna's rasa got changed. Yeah. So now Arjuna speaks his realization. Yeah. After seeing this universal form, right? So Arjuna actually will speak his realizations. Yeah. Now Arjuna says, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the devatas and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents." So you could see all of them in one place. Yeah. So you see the mouse and all, right? So the fire is coming out, and we have so many things. Yeah. And the next verse, right? Again he says Aneka Bahudur. Yeah. So he goes into many bahus. Yeah. He says many arms. Yeah. Many bellies. Many mouths. Yeah. And Sarvatra on all sides. So he's not able to behold that. Yeah. So how much he can see. O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. So this many is nothing but unlimited. Yeah. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all these things. So wherever he sees, right, whatever range he goes in, so he's finding one thing or the other. Yeah. And your form adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. Okay. So he, so he says that this effulgence, right? So which is glaring, which is very difficult to see. Yeah. And he says, you are the supreme primeval objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible. Yeah. And you are the oldest, you are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. So now, whatever he has seen, right? So he's actually describing. Yeah. So, and Arjuna's attempts, right, is is not able to describe. It's immeasurable. Yeah. So, and then he says that you are the oldest, you are the ultimate. Yeah. Again, he's into a different rasana. You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have innumerable, you have numberless arms, and the sun and the moon are among you. Your great unlimited eyes. So the sun and moon, he's saying that they are like your eyes. by your own radiations, you are heating the entire universe. So the effulgence, which is actually coming out of the Lord, right? So that is what he's talking about. So now, so this is what he has seen, and now in there, now Arjuna will see the Kala Rupa. Okay, so the next version, right? He has seen all the planets, all the devatas in one place. Yeah, everything he has seen, and then now he'll actually tell about the Kala Rupa. Okay, in the next verses, so he is actually telling Kala Rupa is nothing but the form as time. Yeah. So, and then Arjuna will ask, who are you? So that verse also will come in. Okay. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O great one, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all planetary systems are perplexed. Okay. Okay. And then he says that all the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands, they are singing the Vedic hymns. So you could see that the Devatas, right? Say they are actually surrendering to the Lord and paying obeisances. Yeah. And then they are singing the glories of the Lord, yeah, and the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, yeah, um, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. So all are seeing, and then we'll see that the demonic, right? So they are fearful of this form, and then they are running away, and all those things also will come in. O mighty armed one, all planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. So by looking at this form, right? So everyone, and this particular form, right? So with Arjuna, right? So Lord Krishna, to whomsoever he wanted to show it, right? He actually gave them the divine eyes. Okay. So with not only Arjuna, but with him, right? Few others also could see this. Okay. And then everyone is disturbed actually by seeing this. And he says that on all pervading Vishnu, seeing all pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. So he's completely shattered now. So with this unlimited forms and all this, right? Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies and beholding your eyes and mouths, I'm afraid. So now he's becoming afraid. Yeah. So Arjuna, who is a warrior, his situation is like this. Yeah. So in this form, right? So Arjuna could see that all his um, the fighting, right? So which will happen, right? So he could see that Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and all, right? All the soldiers, they were getting annihilated. Okay. So he could see that. So in the Vishwarupa, right? So he could see that all the soldiers are getting annihilated. Yeah. So this is actually an indication. So here the Lord has shown that so in the battlefield, what is going to happen? So the law say all these irreligious people and everything, right? All of them will be actually annihilated. So they'll all be swept out. And then there he sees, so he was always actually compassionate, right? What will happen to his guru, his grandfather, and all those? He was having a doubt, right? And then So the Lord actually clears it here, yeah, saying that so if he is not doing that, anyhow, so, this is what is going to happen. So this is the future. Okay. So wherein all these people will be killed. Yeah. And then he's saying Arjuna to become, so that will come in the next verses, wherein he'll say that you'll have to become an instrument in killing them. So you actually become an instrument and kill them and then enjoy the kingdom. Yeah. So even we know, right? So why Lord Krishna actually says that Arjuna and not Arjuna, say Bhishma and Drona were on the wrong side, and then why they had to be punished. The reason was Draupadi's episode, right? So they were present there, but they didn't actually utter anything, right? So of the wrongdoings, so they had to be punished. Yeah, all the sons of Dhritarashtra, yeah, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, and Karna, and all other soldiers are rushing into your mouths, their heads smashed by your fearful teeth. I see that some are being crushed between your teeth as well. Okay, so he's seeing they're entering into the mouth, yeah, and they're getting crushed. As the river flows into the sea, so all these great warriors enter your blazing mouth and perish. So all these warriors are actually annihilated. Yeah. So and then here the in the next verse, yeah. Okay, so did we see this? Yeah, no, we'll have to see this. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouth as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. So he's saying that as the moths are attracted to the fire, right? And then say and they are getting annihilated. Is in the similar way, I see that all these people are getting crushed. Yeah. So, oh Vishnu, I see you're devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me, who are you? So he's asking now. By seeing this form, right? Arjuna is asking, he started questioning Krishna, saying that, please tell me, who are you, and then what is your mission? What is your plan? Yeah. And then he starts offering again obeisances onto you. Please be gracious to me. So he's fully frightened with looking at these all things. You are the primeval Lord. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you. For I don't know what is your what your mission is. Yeah. So now he's asking, tell me who are you, and then what is your mission? Yeah. And Arjuna is in great fear and asks these two questions: who are you, and then what is your mission? Yeah. So he's fully puzzled now by looking at this form. Yeah. And then the Lord says that I am Kala. Yeah. Kalo Asmin. So time I am become my instrument. So here he says that so all these persons, all these religious persons, and then the Kauravas, right? So everything, all they all will be killed, and then he says that become an instrument, nimitta matrena, yeah, and then enjoy the kingdom is what the Lord says. Yeah, the blessed Lord said, "Time I am destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people with the exception of you." Okay, so only he says that on the battlefield, right? He'll leave uh, the Pandavas, and rest all will be destroyed. Yeah. So here he says, in 33, right? He says, therefore get up and prepare to fight. After conquering your enemies, you will enjoy the flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Savyasachin, can be an instrument in the fight. So this is an instrument, right? So he's saying that become an instrument and fight. Yeah. And then here Prabhupada writes about Savyasachi. Yeah? So what does Savyasachi mean, right? Savyasachi is one who can shoot arrows very expertly, right, in the field. So he is the one who can actually shoot arrows from both the ends. Yeah. So and he's very expert. Yeah. And then he says that you become an instrument. Okay. So expert, even I think in the next deck also it is there. So wherein say we have a tendency, right? Say that we use mostly we use a right hand or a left hand to do something, right? And based on it, we say that righty or lefty, right? So basically, but most of them we are righties. Then the one who is well versed, right? Sabyasachi is one who can actually shoot arrows in any direction using both the arms. eh? And so Drona cha Bhishma cha Jayadratha cha. Okay, so he's saying Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. So he's telling, clean up, simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle. Yeah? So he's saying that I've already taken care. So just kill them and then enjoy the kingdom. Yeah?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Uh,
Prabhuji, in this context, what is the significance of addressing Arjuna as Sabyasachi? I mean, what is the significance at this particular point? Just couldn't get it.
so he's addressing him, saying he's telling him, he's actually reminding his power. Yeah, it's because he's actually fearful, right? So, and then again, so now by looking at these opulences, right, he's forgetting about himself, right? So again, Lord Krishna says that you're Savyasachi. Yeah. So that's the context, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And Krishna, Arjuna's answers, yeah. He says, so he did ask, right? So who are you, right? And then he says, I'm Kala Rupa. Yeah. So very interesting place. Yeah, he is Savyasachi, and then he says, become Nimitta Matrena. Yeah, and then the Lord has already planned this, and then so he's asking to follow his instructions and then move on. Yeah. Yeah, now we'll see Arjuna's prayers. Can someone actually read this slide, please? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, shall I?
Good, Prabhu.
Sanjaya said to Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna trembled, fearfully offered obeisances with folded hands, and began falteringly to speak as follows. 11.36 O Rishikesha, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. 11.37 O great one, who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you, O limitless one? O refugee of the universe, you are the invincible source. the cause of all causes, the transcendental to this material manifestation. 11.38, you are the original personality, the Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You know everything and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes or limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So now these are all prayers, yeah. So after his request, he saw the Vishwarupa, the Kala Rupa, and then he could see the past, present, future, everything, right? So all at once. So now he's in the mood of wonder, yeah. And then Arjuna actually starts praying, yeah, and he says that there are a lot of words he uses, yeah. So he says that you are aksharam, yeah, so you're not perishable like the material world, yeah. So it is there in purport, that purport is text 37, yeah. So in this verse he says you are Mahatma, yeah, so the most magnanimous and unlimited, yeah. You are Ananta, yeah? Nothing is not covered. So there is no place which is not covered by him, yeah. And then he is Devesha, he is the controller of all the devatas, yeah. And he says that he is the maintainer of everything, yeah. And he even says that Nidhanam, yeah. Nidhanam is nothing but ultimate rest even for the Brahman. Yeah. So he actually Prabhupada has written these all. If you read these purports, right? So he has given for every word he has given a description. Yeah. So now Arjuna actually starts praying, and then he says that he'll actually confess also, saying that say unknowingly, right? Say I have actually had say private talks with you, and then say like I treated you as a friend, and then so I have at times I have addressed you rashly, saying that oh Yadava, oh my friend, yeah. So not knowing all these glories, right? So he had actually touch base. These things will come now. We'll see through. So again, he is actually saying all the powers, right? So you are Brahma, the first living creator. You are the one who taught actually the Vedic knowledge or the Vedas were told to Brahma by the Lord Himself, right? So, and then you are the great grandfather. Yeah, again, he says that. And then obeisances you from front, from behind, and from all sides. Oh, unbounded power. You are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. So he says that you are everything. Okay. And he says, you are the ultimate rest of all knowledge. You are the essence of everything. I offer obeisances. Yeah. So Arjuna prays, and then now he'll say, uh, so without knowing you, and then you have your so powers and all, right? So in friendly mood, right? So he had actually, say he's saying that okay, I have not at times I have not respected you, so because he was a cousin, right? So basically, so he was in a jolly mood and all those things, right? Say like while sleeping together or getting relaxed, or they ate sometimes as a friend, right? So he's saying that please excuse me. Yeah? So he's asking for an apology, saying that so if anything, so he says that please pardon me. right? For all those things which I have spoken to you unknowingly. Yeah? So actually, he's saying that all those things should have been done respectfully, but at that time he felt so as if as a friend and a cousin, right? So with cousins, usually the relationship is different, right? So after seeing all these things, right? So he remembers all those things, and then he pleads to forgive. Yeah? I have in the past addressed you as O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Yeah. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. He says that, please forgive me. Yeah. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while laying on the same bed or eating together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. So he is actually uh, in an apologetic mood, right? So in apology, so he's asking, so please pardon me and then please excuse me for all the offenses which I have done unknowingly. Yeah. So thinking as if you are my cousin. Yeah. And then he'll say also in the next verses, he'll say that say as if the father and son relationship, right? If son does any mistakes, the father forgives, right? So in that way, or um, as an husband forgives the wife, right? So please consider me in that scenarios, and then forgive me. Yeah. So he prays all those things. He says, yeah, you are the father of complete cosmic manifestation of the moving and unmoving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within these three worlds? Yeah. And then he says that you are the supreme Lord, to be worshipable, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father, you see, as a father tolerates the impedance of his son, a friend, right? The impatience of a friend or a husband, the familiarity of his wife. Please tolerate the wrongs I may have done to you, right? So he's actually giving other examples also, yeah, saying that so please excuse me. So after seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as personality of Godhead, O Lord. Okay. She is again asking to come back to the normal position. Yeah. So because he's disturbed. Yeah. So this is what request to withdraw the fearsome form and reveal the form as personality of Godhead. So he says that now it's okay. So I have seen all those things, and then it's very fearful. So he prays the Lord to actually come back to the original form. Yeah? Because the universal form is very fearful, right? So with all those things, and Krishna assumes the form as he is asked for to show this form. Yeah. And yeah, okay. So this was Arjuna request to see the four-handed form. Yeah. So now he'll say that he wants to see the four-handed form. Yeah. First, so after seeing the Vishwarupa, right? So now Arjuna will say that request to show him the Narayana form. Okay. So which is nothing but the four-handed form. Yeah. And s- this particular form, right? So which is being displayed. So this is only temporary form. Yeah. So this is basically to show the power. And this universal form, right, so was shown earlier to Duryodhana also. Okay. Okay, so we'll finish this and then I'll tell you that. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in the four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. Okay, so now he wants to see the normal form, yeah. So the Vishnu form he wants to see. And yeah, I was mentioning, right, this Vishwarupa, right, when Krishna went as a peace messenger, right? So to Duryodhana at that time, right? So he into the went to Duryodhana, asking for half of the kingdom, right? Because the Pandavas were back from the exile, and for that he went and asked, saying that so they have come. So because actually they should only be the kings, but for a peace talk, right? He went and said that okay, so let's settle this amicably. Yeah? So at least either give them or give them half of the kingdom, right? And then to which Duryodhana rejected. And even at last, Krishna asked, give them at least 5 villages, yeah? Because they are Kshatriyas, and then they're to have 5 villages, which was also rejected. So, and in turn, right? So at that time, Duryodhana wanted to actually um, capture uh, Lord Krishna, right? He wanted to arrest Krishna. So at that time, Krishna actually manifested this universal form, but that was a mini one. So not this extensive form. So he did actually show his potency there, but Duryodhana couldn't understand then also. So what we can say, so the fate of such persons, right? So at that time also he did show it, but yeah, so Duryodhana said that he's a magician kind of thing, and then he couldn't understand. So that's all, right? So when somebody is in the path of destruction, so even when he gets a chance, right? So he didn't take it up, and even Dhritarashtra knew that. But yeah, so this had to happen. Okay. Anyway, I think we'll stop here. There are few more verses. Roughly there are 10, 55, right? Yeah. So maybe we'll take this tomorrow and then we'll get started with chapter 12. Yeah. So yeah. So I think um, some half an hour or so we'll spend here and then half an hour for 12th chapter. Yeah. We'll start the 12th chapter again. The 12th chapter is devotional service, right? So that chapter is also a small one, but yeah, so the chapter is also very important. We'll stop for here today. Hare Krishna. If you have not marked your attendance, please mark it. Any questions related to this topic? If not, then we'll wind up for today and then catch up tomorrow. Pankaj Prabhu, go ahead. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Prabhuji, yeah, here we are understanding like once Arjuna saw the Krishna's Virat Rupa and he was like again he also something he became fearful, which means he also lost his senses or sense control he didn't have. But Prabhuji, we we have also like seen like Arjuna he had when Krishna gave him the options to either choose him, like he would be armless but he would like only be driving or Narayani Sena. So Arjuna chose Krishna, right?
Yeah.
So Arjuna already knew that Krishna is a supreme personality, but then what made Arjuna like had Krishna not shown him this Virat Rupa, would
Arjuna be would have been the same before, like he like after seeing that form, he like completely telling him sorry, apologizing him, etc., etc., and all
Mm.
paying so many deep
Mm.
respect. So had Krishna not shown him that form, would Arjuna would have been the same after same just like he was after seeing the Virat Rupa. So does it
Yeah.
not mean like only if the god is showing his actual form, then only the humans are like okay, sorry, apologies, and so many things like they feel bad. But before that, is since God already he has shown like he's God, but still Arjuna was doubtful. So
No, Arjuna
Prabhuji,
was not
yes.
doubtful actually, Prabhu, if you see, right? So after the Chaturshloki, he confirms, right? Saying that you are Paramdhama, right? Param Brahma, and then you are superior. Uh, So, and then he actually quotes also saying that the others, right? Say like Asilo, Vyasa, and Narada have confirmed this. This is not I as a friend who is actually telling these things, but he is actually fully convinced. Okay, Prabhu. But after this is all conversation which is going on, right? So after listening to all these opulences, right? So for us, so this is all this situation is all about, right? So if you look in, right, this particular episode also was created because Bhagavad Gita had to come in. Okay, else will not get Bhagavad Gita, right? So all these situations were created by the Lord, okay, to actually give us these things, yeah. And say how will we actually get this information, right? In chapter 4 also the Lord says, right, so this particular um the Bhagavad Gita had lost its essence, so he had to tell, right? And then he spoke to Arjuna. So he uses this platform to actually teach us, right? So same is for Bhagavatam also, right? So in if you look at the Bhagavatam, right? So Parikshit Maharaj was a very great king, yeah. So he became thirsty. So that's all the Lord's plan, right? So to give us Bhagavatam. So if at all he was not thirsty and then he did not put that snake on Shaimika Rishi, right? So we would not have got this Bhagavatam. He was cursed. Yes, bro. So he is a great Raja Rishi, yeah? So who actually dealt with Kali so nicely. Yeah? He could forgive Kali, who was doing so much disturbances. And so, what about this thirst and all those things, right? So, he actually sat with Sukadev Goswami without drinking water and without eating food for 7 days. So, for him, thirst and hunger is nothing. So, at that time, right, the Lord creates situation so that all these things come and then we see through it. Yeah. Otherwise, Arjuna and all, they are all exalted people. So, they know all these things. Yeah.
Sure, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when Krishna says that he is also the Kala, so in one of the verses we he was saying to Arjuna that he's also Kala. But Prabhuji, it's how to like